Okay, so I'm finally back in the studio again. It's taken me quite a while because I was put on isolation with my daughter last week because of a COVID exposure. So the video is a bit later than I had hoped, but I am going to do a video this morning showing all of you my setup for acrylic painting and what supplies I would suggest that you buy and how you can kind of get started. So first of all, I'm going to show you the paints that I use. So I have them organized here in a very satisfying rainbow arrangement, which helps me to find the color that I'm looking for. So I'm going to just pull out a few that I think are really good ones to get. I really like the brand Golden. Probably a lot of you will balk at the price tag, and I recognize that it is an expensive brand, but because the pigments are more concentrated and the colors are so vivid, you'll end up using less paint and you'll get much more beautiful paintings, and it'll be a lot more fun to paint. So in my opinion, it's better to get a few really good paints than a lot of crappy ones. Okay, so the color that I really love to use, particularly for my underpaintings and also just as my red, is Quinacridone Crimson. Those others are kind of extra ones. Quinacridone Burnt Orange is a really lovely well, it's an orange shade, but it's very nice and hard to mix without this. It's almost impossible to mix it without this, buying this pigment. Quinacridone Azul Gold, when it's painted on the canvas, it's almost like a really warm golden yellow, and it's very beautiful for underpainting as well, so that's another one to buy. For yellow, I would recommend either one of cadmium yellow, which is cheaper, I think, or Hansa yellow. Hansa yellow is a bit more of a cool yellow, whereas cadmium yellow is a bit more of a warm yellow. Hansa yellow is a very translucent paint. So if you look at the back of the tube, it tells you all the properties. You can see here that it is low tinting, and it tends towards the glossy side and more transparent. So that's actually helpful when you're trying to do glazes over top of colors. Whereas cadmium yellow, if you look at the back here, it's more of an opaque color, so it's going to give you more coverage, and it ends up being lower tinting as well. Next color that I really like is called Green Gold. So you can't mix this color very easily with the other primary colors, and it gives you a very kind of lovely bright highlight for painting trees and other kinds of things. Next, there's the blues. So I actually recommend getting two blues. One is called Phthalo Blue, green shade, and the other one's called Ultramarine Blue, okay? If you have the budget, Cobalt Blue is lovely. It's very expensive, however. It's very similar to Ultramarine Blue, but it's not quite the same. If you're an experienced artist, you'll know what I'm talking about. But you know, that's an expensive one. Next, Dioxazide Purple. Also very hard to mix this from your primary colors, so I would recommend buying that. Finally, black. I like Mars Black. And then for white, I like Titanium White. And you'll find that you go through a lot of white. So this is a small tube. It's because when I went to the store, they were out of the bigger tubes. But I would recommend buying the biggest tube of this that you can get. Okay, so those are the paints. Next, I'm going to show you where I put my paints and how I do it. So this is what we call a meat tray. They sell these at Opus, which is a British Columbia artist store. I don't know what, there's Curry's, I think, in Ontario. They probably have something similar. So what it is it's a metal tray that has enamel on it. And so enamel is essentially like glass fused to metal. And what's nice about this is the acrylic paint will not stick to it, okay? The other thing that's nice about it is it's white. So because acrylic paints are transparent, when you're mixing your color on here, it'll allow you to see the true color that you're mixing. So what I usually do is I put my colors around the edge. If I'm organized, I do it in a rainbow like I've done today, and I try to put them towards the corners. And the reason for that is that they dry more slowly. The next step that I do is I get my medium, which is, I highly recommend buying this. This is a must. It's Gloss Glazing Liquid. It's a slow drying extender. And what I do with this is I put a puddle of it in the middle. Okay, and mine's a little bit dried out here, so it takes me a lot of effort to squeeze it out. But I put that in the center. Then I also have a squirt bottle next to me. I just fill it with water. And what I can do with this is I can mist my colors as I'm going if they're drying out. I also kind of invented this myself. It's a cover for my paints. So it's a piece of acetate. I think it was on like a box for one of my kids' Christmas presents. And I took it off and I cut it to the right size so it fits when I'm gonna take a break from painting. It rests right on top of my palette. And so if I spray with water and then I put that down, it allows my paints to last for a couple of days as opposed to drying out. Okay, so next I'm gonna show you where I do my water. So I have here just an old yogurt tin, or pardon me, yogurt container. I find that these ones are really great, the big square ones, because they hold a lot of water, and they're free, which is nice. And then finally, I'm gonna show you my brushes. So I have a lot of brushes. When I started painting, I thought it was important to spend a lot of money on brushes. And so I mistakenly went and bought these lovely but very expensive brushes by Princeton. Not to say that you couldn't do that. Certainly, if you have the budget, they're lovely. But I've come to learn that it's better to have more brushes, and if they're, get wrecked, you can throw them out. So the brand that I really like by Opus is called Legato. Now, brushes come in different sizes. They come in different shapes at the bristles, and they come in different numbers, okay? So the type that I prefer are the Legato brush series, and I like the type of brush that essentially looks like this shape. So it's kind of like a rectangle, okay? I think it's really important to get quite a lot of those in different sizes. So this is, I have a large one here. This is a Legato, it's a number 16. I'm obsessed with this brush right now because I'm doing humongous paintings and I need a bigger brush. So that one is really great. I also like to have a couple smaller ones. So I've got a few here of the Legato number 6, this one is. And I've got, what's this one? This is the Legato number 8. So the smaller the number, the thinner the brush. This one's had a lot of work on it. This is all a second number 6. And here is a Legato number 4, so we're getting smaller. And then I have Legato number 4, so I have 2 of those. And then I have the even smaller still, Legato 0, okay? So I think there's actually a Legato 2. That might be this one, but it's really seen better days. It's quite worn down. So these ones, as I say, the top is a square shape, okay? And I think rectangular square shape. There's another style of brush which is called a bright brush. And bright, the hairs at the top of the brush are like a square. So I'll see if I can show you that. Here's one that's bright. So I'll just show you the difference. So this first one here, and I'm forgetting the term for this, I'll add it later when I can. You can see how the top of the brush looks more like a rectangle, okay? So I prefer this shape. This is called a bright brush. You can see how the top is more square. When you have more of a square top, it means the bristles are more stiff, okay? So you're gonna get less movement with the brush. Sometimes that's a desired thing, other times it isn't. So I think for just multi-purpose, I would suggest this shape for the brush. And I think it's important to, as I say, get a big one, medium one, small one. Finally, if you're somebody that wants to do a lot of detail work, you're gonna need small brushes. And I mean, you can go really, really small. I've got an example here of a brush that is like a 0 probably, or a 00. So you can go all the way down. Here's a really small brush. This might be a 00, okay? So 00 is for really, really fine detail. Another thing that's kind of handy to have is a large brush like this for doing washes. So this is from Liquitex, and it's, just for painting really quickly a background. So that's kind of a nice to have. As far as cleanup and how to handle things when you're done, the best way to clean your brushes is with soap and water, okay? It's best to do it right when you're done painting, and the longer that you wait, the more likely the paint is to dry and ruin your brush. But don't despair if you have done that by accident, and I've definitely done that before. You can actually use turpentine, or you can use mineral spirits, and mineral spirits will help. So this is my little bottle of mineral spirits. It's toxic, so keep it away from your kids and pets. And that will usually revive the brush. You can also, there's also special soaps you can buy at art stores that help to revive your brushes. Finally, something that I use all the time are these artist markers. So this is a white one and this is a black one. And I use these for writing my name on the painting when I'm done. Finally, when you're really done the painting, archival varnish is very handy to have. This will give a nice protective coating to your painting. It gives it a shiny sheen to it, which is really nice to make the colors more vibrant. And then two other, I would say, pretty essential things is to get some gesso. So gesso is a very thick, cheap coating that goes on canvas. I think it's really important to have black gesso, and the reason is most canvases come coated in white gesso. So black gesso I use to do the sides of my paintings so that they kind of drop back. So as an example, I can show you on my peony painting here. You can see the side of the painting is done with the black gesso. And it's just a nice way to finish your painting, make it a bit more professional. This is just Opus brand white gesso. So let's say you do a painting and you hate it, and this happens to me a lot, and you want the canvas back to how it was. You can use white gesso to paint over whatever you did before, and then you've got the canvas can be used again. So here's an example of a canvas that I painted with white gesso, and I just painted over what was there before, and now I can use this canvas again. So I think that's enough for today. The one last thing I'm just gonna say that I think is really important when you start painting is to get some reference photos. So what I do when I see something that I think is beautiful, I screenshot it on my phone, and then when I have time, I print a bunch of photos all at once at London Drugs, and then I keep them. And so these is a collection of photos I've had over the years of things that I want to paint. And the other day I was laying them out and organizing them by kind of their subject matter. So when I'm looking for something to paint that is, for example, a waterfall or a tree scene, then I can easily find it. But I think this is a really good habit to get into. So screenshotting things on your phone by holding the home button, the power button, and then you can store the picture for later and then print them when you get a chance. I will talk more about this in future videos, how to use a reference photo, but I think just the idea of that, of saving your reference photos, is important. One thing I just realized I didn't talk about at all is easels. So I'll just show you the first easel that I had. Very, very simple, from Opus. I think this is like $15. And it's a table easel. So what you do is you set it up on a table, like so, and then you can raise it up and down and you stand with it. So this is cheap and it folds flat. It's really nice if you don't have a lot of space. The other easel that I own is for plein air painting. So it's this one here. You can see set up with my painting I'm working on right now. It's great for travel. It folds down into a small shape, easy to take with you. And then finally my studio easel, which I think I showed in a previous video. It's by the company called Best. And I think their website is, let's see here. It looks like it's richesonart.com. Anyway, they sell this one at Opus, and it's great for when you start doing larger pieces. You need something to hold the canvas for you, and I actually feel that this one's very well made and will last me many years. All right, so thanks for watching my video. I hope this helps, and feel free to send me any questions, and I hope you have a great day.